A very warm welcome to this webinar of the World Wind Energy Association, which we will hold today about the topic of small wind. My name is Stefan Gsänger. I'm Secretary General of the World Wind Energy Association and have the pleasure to moderate this webinar. Before we start, let me give you some general information. At first, this is a public event, so it's broadcasted live on Facebook. It will also be later. The recordings will be available on our YouTube channel. So whenever you show your face, you raise your hand, you say something, please be aware that in principle, everybody will be able to see you, to hear what you have to say. Of course, we encourage your participation because I think this is very important to have an interactive session today. We have very nice speakers today. I'm very pleased that we will be able today to share with you the practitioner's perspective. So what can small wind industry, the companies do to make small wind work? Small wind is a technology that is, of course, at the moment not playing such a big role in quantitative terms when you compare it with the large wind turbines, but still it has its applications where it makes a lot of sense. But there's still a lot of, lack of knowledge what these small wind turbines actually can do, and what are good partners if you are interested in installing a small wind turbine. So I'm very glad that we have today 3 companies with us that can present you what they can provide, how they can make this happen. And you also, of course, feel free to ask questions after we hear to our speakers. So with this also, let me request you to all the participants here in the Zoom meeting, stay muted until we ask you to unmute yourself. Yeah, this webinar, let me also say that has been made possible because we have a supporter of the webinar series. That is why we can offer it for free. And this is the company Profec Ventus, which is the partner of our webinars. Thank you very much to them. Yeah, with this, I'd like to start with our first speaker, who will not speak about a specific company, but give an overview of where small wind stands, what it is, what role it plays today. And it's my great pleasure to welcome Frits, who is based in the Netherlands, one of the pioneers of renewable energy, wind energy in the Netherlands, who is also co-chairing the small wind section of the World Wind Energy Association. And with this, I have the pleasure to hand over to you, Frits, and ask you to start your presentation.
No.
So Frits, you're with us?
Yeah, yes. I'm trying to get it done. If it's not working, we have a backup.
Yes, if the screen sharing doesn't work, then Martina, if you would please share the screen and we show Frits' presentation from the alternative screen. Yes, just a moment.
No, that's it. There. That's this one.
Okay, Frits, it works, so you can go ahead.
No, it's just okay.
So if you go to the presentation mode, super, yes, thank you.
Yes, that's this one?
Yes.
Okay, oh, that's nice. So I will try if it will go on with also the following. Okay, thank you for the introduction, Stefan. I'm trying to give you an overview of the markets and the markets of small and medium wind in the world. And on this title sheet, I usually play also something special. This time I choose a somewhat older picture, but I like it. It's one of my favorites. It shows two very small wind turbines. You see them here above the solar panels. It's very small ones, 20 watts. And UNAFCO is an academical organization in the United States that has hundreds of these stations worldwide. And it's just to show how small it can be. Okay, I will try to see if it's giving the next one. Yep. Okay, I will tell something about the world market, what is small, specific markets, the world potential, certified turbines, and the related industry. On the world market, we have more than 1 million small wind turbines worldwide. We are still working on to get actual figures. Installed capacity is also more than 1 megawatt at the moment, and the average size is about 1 kilowatt. As you see, most of the turbines are installed in China. Do you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead. We hear
Okay.
you very well.
It's going good. So, okay. Well, then something about the size of a small and medium wind turbine. Originally, it's called small, but what is small? As the wind turbines were growing and growing, and after the invention of carbon used in blades, we had a very huge. They became very huge in the 90s of the last century, and then they left let's say the small size of that moment, and we have several types of indicating the size. Small could be very small, let's say, as I said, 10 watts to 100, or in some countries, 125 kilowatts, and generator size. That's interesting for regulations. That's a very, it's a size, it's 100 kilowatt or it's not 100 kilowatt. It's not 19, it's not 110, it's 100 kilowatts. It's an exact size. And medium is then defined as 100 kilowatt to 1 megawatt. Mostly, these turbines are solitaire. That means there's only one of them. But there are some exceptions. For instance, the island of Aruba needs 14 megawatt, but there is no crane on the Caribbean islands to place such a big turbine. Enercon could place that time 7 megawatt turbines, but there was no crane for it. So they placed a lot of 950 kilowatt turbines to reach the 14 megawatt. It starts also with very small ones. Bergey has wind turbines at a telecommunication post on the top of a mountain. And the top of the mountain, the top is only reached by mules. And a mule has to carry the generator to the top. So they needed 10 kilowatt. So a mole can carry a generator of 1 kilowatt. So they had to place 10 turbines to get to 10 kilowatt. So transport and cranes make that sometimes it's also, let's say, a wind farm with small and medium wind turbines. And also, that shows in the pictures, if you have an island, you have to carry the wind turbine to the island. So the ferry is then the limiting factor. Runo Island needed 500 kilowatt, and they used what you see is the V27 Vestas 225 kilowatts. So they had to place 2 turbines on the island. Well, another way of organizing is, let's say, more or less. So we have a maturing market in using wind for the powering sensors, and that's very small, 1 watt to 20 megawatt. Then leisure, let's say holiday homes, sailing yachts, that's 50 watt to 500, but it's not so exactly as the other one. It can be some more, some less. Households is between 500 and 15 kilowatt. Then we have farms, small and medium enterprises, and also the telecom base stations. A telecom base station is basically 5 to 15 kilowatt. They can use a small wind turbine from 5 to 15 kilowatt. But if there is a little hamlet, people need also to charge their phone, and then they can place 80 kilowatt. Hamlets also, it's 8 kilowatt to 300 kilowatt. 300 is a little a technical limit for weak grids. So if you need a bigger turbine in an hamlet or in a community, you have to take electronically measures. Well, the market can be divided. We have manufacturers, they have a track record. And some manufacturers already have several decades and was proven, and thereby was proven and certified small and medium wind turbines. Then we have thousands of do-it-yourself wind turbines, for instance, the turbines from Hugh Pickett, but it's small. There are no do-it-yourself medium wind turbines. But there are already thousands of them working, and also for 30 years, so they have a proven track record. Then we have a lot of startups. They are in the process of certifying, or they are building up a track record at that moment, or they have already a little track record, like TWE from Germany, that is still in the process. I will show you a picture later. And then marketing turbines, that's a name I gave it. And the last weeks, months, a lot of marketing turbines were showed up at the market, even without a pilot turbine, looking for money, with a lot of promises, and that they first have to make it true. Well, and then specific markets. We have in the continent Africa and India no grid situations. Then at some places they only have, let's say, 8 hours electricity a day. That means no 24/7 electricity. And that's called a bad grid. So there is also still used a lot of solar and diesel. So that's a place where medium and small also can play a role. Then islands, 10,000s of islands worldwide, which have extra costs to get fuel on their island. And some islands are threatened by climate change. Mining has also fuel transport cost, and in the remote sites they can also have medium turbines. Desalination in water. Water is one of the biggest problems on Earth, so as not the biggest problem. Then we have hydrogen production. It's still maturing, but ITM Power has in Sheffield for more than 10 years now, 225 kilowatt machine with its own fuel station. Then at some places there we have a weak electricity grid, and making it heavier is costly. It's also in urbanized areas. They can be used in distributed energy. The state of New York, after Sandy, declared that every part of the state should be a microgrid, have a microgrid. And after the next hurricane, it should come up itself after the hurricane. Then there are places where you can't repower. I will come back on that later. And you have in such a place a smaller nuisance circle, especially for noise and shadow. So you have to replace a medium wind turbine. Then community wind and telecom. Telecom is a special market. Not only for charging the phones, but also for all the base stations. We have at the moment around 1 million base stations worldwide, and the future is, let's say, 4 million base stations worldwide. 25% of the Earth's surface doesn't have mobile phone coverage, and a lot of places only have coverage in the big cities, like, for instance, in Africa. So there will be a lot of more base stations, and every base station has its own diesel generator. Some are equipped with solar, but in some parts of the year they also can use wind. Then we have community wind, and at a weak grid you can't have a big turbine, or logistically you can have a big turbine. So there's also a market. Then you have natural parks, sensitive habitat, like the island of St. Helena in the middle of the ocean. They are afraid of an oil spill risk on their island. Then you can use it as a heating support of as used in by distributed energy in Denmark. Then I said already, difficult to reach sites like Bonaire with smaller turbines because there's no crane. They can be used in emergency power situations, man-made and natural disasters. And military is trying it, and festivals also. And then we have hurricane areas where you need a special medium turbine where the rotor can be lowered during the hurricane. Now about the worldwide potential. There's a huge potential. National Renewable Energy Laboratories did a study for the USA, and they found 1,400 gigawatt is possible for North America alone for small and medium wind. We have more continents, so that could mean more than 7 terawatt worldwide. You can have a look at this research. When we saw this research, we thought as WWEA that we could have a similar overview for the other continents. And we are now working on a similar overview funded by the European Union. The National Renewable Energy Laboratories did an estimated guess also for Europe, and it should be more or less also 1,400 gigawatt. Then there is a difference between central production and local production. Small wind turbines can be produced very good locally. Why should you ship all these turbines all over the world? You can make them locally, make local industries possible also with licensing from bigger companies. But technical, all the techniques is also growing, and you need to have a research and development on materials and also on your rotor, on everything. But for small manufacturers, that's not affordable. So it's on the other side, it's for some, it's good to have some companies that work worldwide and are bigger. Well, and I told you already about the marketing turbines, but I will come back on that. Worldwide, we have several organizations, small and medium wind. Perhaps I didn't mention here all of them. If you have, think I have an organization, or I know an organization that should be on this list, please send me a direct mail. I have my mail address at the end of the presentation. You can.
Frits, please keep the time.
Okay. We have a lot of manufacturers that have certified turbines. And to have an actual overview, keep an eye on our small wind WWEA website. This is also a very short one because I don't want to make much words on this. Just marketing turbines. Look at the perfect presentation from Paul Kuip in another moment. Then we have also test fields, and the picture here is from Hunsborg, from Focus Center. We have several standards, and also look at the WWEA website to have an actual overview. We have also related industry, repowering, that means placing a bigger turbine. Refurbish, there's another one than retrofit. Refurbish will say you renew everything, but you keep it at the same size. The retrofit is partly renewing, especially controllers, electronics. If they change, let's say every 10 years, so sometimes you have to renew them. Repair, yeah, the wind turbine is a moving thing, so you need maintenance. You can replace them if you get a new one. Someone else will get a repair and reuse them. We have to think about recycling, end of life. What do you with all the things at the end of life? mean, dealers, licensed manufacturing, it's not, test fields is not on this list, but it's also something. And also all the electronics, like SCADA systems, microgrids. And then we have also installers, for the electricity part, brains, and wind measurement. Okay. Then we are working on global overviews. And we try to be actual, but we need help to get these overviews actual. So give me a direct mail if you have some comment. And when you want to support our work, go for a membership or get a sponsor contract. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Frits, for kind of presenting the overall landscape. I think that's been very useful so that we know how the market more or less looks like. We just have maybe time now for if there are some brief questions and then later have a little bit more discussion. Do we have any direct questions now for Frits? No, that's not the case. So thank you very much, Frits, and please be available at a later point of time also for upcoming questions. So it's my pleasure is to welcome our next speaker. And we're now having someone from India, the company Balaji Systems, and it's my pleasure to welcome Mr., and forgive me my pronunciation, Mr. Kanagaraj Devaraj, who is representing the Indian small wind turbine manufacturer, Balaji Systems. And we're looking now forward to hearing from you what you can offer now, especially as we have seen the kind of global overview, what you're doing in India from India. Thank you. And the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Hi, how are you, sir? Hi, sir. How are you?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir.
So please.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, sir.
We can hear you.
Hi, sir. How are you? Yeah. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, we can hear you well. So please share your screen and start your presentation.
Yeah, sir. We are the just a minute. Oh, sorry. So connected?
We can hear you, yeah.
Sir, can you connect to the screen, sir?
If you want to do it, otherwise my colleague Martina can share your presentation.
Yeah, yes. Thank you. Sir, we are the very, very small company, not a big one. We are the manufacturing of the 1 kilowatt to maximum 5 kilowatt turbines. We are mostly given to home and residential purpose and mostly commercial purpose we given. Nowadays, we are given latest coastal areas we planning, sir. Coastal areas India, we have a largest coastal areas. India, we have a largest coastal areas. We are planned to coastal areas we are planning. And so many we have doing for the houses and small companies only, not a big one, small companies only. Hello?
Do you want the next?
Hello,
if you
sir?
Just say next, then my colleague knows that she has to.
Yeah, next page, sir. Sir, we are developed our turbine is a low wind velocity. We are developed the 2.5 meter by second will be running in our turbine. Mostly we are selling half kilowatt and 1 kilowatt on the residential purpose, half kilowatt, 1 kilowatt, and the minimum 2.5 kilowatt in the rooftop areas. Again, 3 kilowatt and 5 kilowatt, we are putting on the ground level, some ground level turbines. And whichever eco-friendly, our turbine is already eco-friendly. We are doing from on-grid and off-grid both model we're doing. Next page, sir. We have a horizontal and vertical axis. We are selling to horizontal axis only. Vertical axis we don't do it. We are mostly selling to horizontal axis only. That fast moving model in India, we have a good market in turbine market, but we are the small company. We have so many order received, but we are with so many manufacturing facility. We are not doing some spares not available. Some we are importing. But we are quickly we developed our company, sir. Next page, sir. We do the PMG alternator also, some given to flywheel. So many persons can you flying some new technology from here in India and flywheel technology also. Our turbine maximum we are given 20 years life. After that we are do the some pairs will be changing. Definitely we do the again you can using 20 years extra. Some next page. Our company will be 2010. We have started the company. We are the beginning, the small using for the mobile, some telecom industry. We are doing from our government telecom industry. We are doing for the power. That mostly remote areas we have a don't EV power. That only we are doing the solar and wind. Nowadays we are doing a solar wind hybrid system. We mostly using, sir. That is very best for our system hybrid system. Most of our houses we doing for the solar and wind, and mostly coastal area avoid the all person will be solar, can go for the wind only, because our 1 kilowatt wind turbine per day can you increase the more than unit generation will be there. Avoid the solar customers, so we are doing for the turbine, sir. Next bit, sir. So we are very eco-friendly. Our deviation will be eco-friendly. Noise pollution will be very, very less than noise pollution, sir. Therefore, we are using FRB blade. And next page, sir. We have same all what turbine we have facility, same facility we are doing. We have a dump load facility, high voltage cutoff automatically, overload tripping, everything we are doing facilities are our facility we are doing. Next page, sir. Okay, sir. Well balanced. We have so many colleges. Institution will be more than installation from our side, sir. We have some more than India. We have first we are basically in South India, not North India. We are South India. This is, South India is a fully coastal area, completely coastal area. We have a coastal area. Institution will be this is an institution. On institution will be installation. Institution will be installation. Can you teach within some students also? Wind energy can teach the students also. Next page, sir. Yeah, our application suitable mostly villages, and more than we are doing the villages side. Can you doing, sir? Some villages cannot doing the any electricity power in our India. Some rural areas cannot doing the electricity power. That our turbine only working in the very well working in the electricity, sir. Okay, sir. Next, sir. Yes, already I told you, the domestic fans, everything we are doing agriculture. See, agriculture purpose also we are doing so many agriculture purpose. Most of all, we are doing the in a rural area, village area, agriculture purpose. Do not give it electricity. Submersible pump can using with our turbines, sir. Next, sir. Yes, sir. Already everything I told you. We are the small company. Kindly support. We want your support with you with us. Anything can you mistake? Can you just to me? We are the already told you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much for this presentation showing us what you are doing in India. So I'm looking at whether there are any questions for you. If someone would like to raise a question, please raise your hand. You can also write in the chat, or otherwise you can also use the electronic hand raising function here. Now, I'd like to know how many of these turbines have you installed, because you have shown us some pictures. Can you give us a rough idea?
Sir, we are installation for the more than 30 to 40 turbines we are installation, sir.
So you have quite experience with this, although you started not that long ago. Now,
Yes,
you
sir.
wrote that there is no maintenance cost, or there is no maintenance. Could you specify that? Is it not necessary to do some maintenance at the wind turbine from time to time?
I cannot understand, sir. What you say, sir?
Maintenance. You mentioned
Maintenance. Yeah, maintenance. Some areas will be requirement is there, sir. Maintenance is there. Some areas not there. The maintenance, sir. So mostly we are installation for the coastal areas, sir. We are the installation for the coastal areas. Some areas will be maintenance is required. Some areas will be maintenance is not required, sir. So our turbine mostly maintenance free. That only customer will be going from turbine, sir.
Very good. Do we have any questions now from our
Sir,
audience?
we are the small concerns already told you. Okay, sir.
Yes, I think that is quite typical because many of the small wind companies, they are small. I know from
Yes, sir.
many companies around the world. So we're very pleased that you're able to present what you're doing. Please stay also with us if in case there are questions coming up, then
Yes, sir.
we may refer to you. And now
Yes, sir.
let's go, as there are no other questions. Let's go to our next speaker. And actually, we're now it's quite far away from where you are based in India. Our next speaker is from the United States. It's my pleasure
Yes,
to
sir.
welcome Michael Soriano from Bergey Windpower. Bergey Windpower, of course, a quite well-known company, and the owner and CEO of Bergey Wind, Michael Bergey, is the co-chair of our small wind section together with Frits. Now it's my
Yes, sir.
pleasure to welcome Mr. Michael Soriano. Michael, are you with me now?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. So may I hand over to you, invite you to give your presentation about what Bergey can do. And we're even more excited because knowing that in the United States, there is an additional momentum now, especially because of the policy that you've had, new policies in the past couple of years. So the floor is yours.
Yes, if you'll bear with me for just one moment, I seem to have messed up my screen. Do you have the copy of my presentation that you
Yes, I
can
think
upload?
Martina, if you
Martina?
can do that, but then you please stop sharing your, Michael, if you can stop sharing your presentation, then.
Okay, let me. There. Is that better?
Yes, now
Oh, perfect. Thank you so
works.
much. Technology eludes me. Wind turbines don't. Let me begin by saying it's a pleasure to be with you all, and I'd like to extend Mike Bergey's apologies for not being able to join us this morning. He had some pressing family matters to attend to. But I've been with the company for about 10 years now. And Martin, next screen, please. Bergey Windpower is in its 47th year of operation. Began in 1977. We're the oldest and most experienced manufacturer in the small wind turbine world. Our turbines primarily are geared to homes, farms, ranches, and small businesses. We used to provide off-grid turbines. Lately, the demand has been such for our newest turbine, which we'll talk about a little bit later, barely keeping up with production on that demand. We've moved away from the off-grid market for the time being. Our turbines have always been focused on minimization, only 2 to 3 moving parts, no scheduled maintenance, and many of our turbines have demonstrated operating. I get calls on a regular basis for people who've had our turbines installed for 20 plus years. Many of our 10 kilowatt turbines are older 1 kilowatt turbines. And the reason they're calling for parts, maintenance, is simply because parts are wearing out after that period of time. In the time we've been in business, we've gotten more than 10,000 installations worldwide, as well as across the United States. Next slide, please. The range of our turbines since introduction have been varied, but always following simplicity. Only minimal moving parts, ranging from our 1 kilowatt turbine to our lead turbine, which was the 10 kilowatt for many years. Next slide, please. Most recently, our newest turbine, our XL 15 kilowatt turbine, has been creating quite excitement in the United States. Our first installation, it was introduced in 2019. Our first installation was in that year, and it provided literally a 57% efficiency upgrade from our prior 10 kilowatt turbine. And this was a result primarily of the incursion of solar into the United States market. It was more a matter of survival and coming up with something that could compete. Next slide, please. Our 15 kilowatt turbine has tailored aerodynamics with a much larger rotor, the carbon fiber blades, variable speed control with using dump load, only 2 moving parts, the rotor and the yaw, no scheduled maintenance, 3-year inspection intervals. Again, very little to go wrong, extended inspection schedules. Predicted life on this turbine, 30 to 75 years. Our engineers like to claim 50 years. When I'm talking to customers, I get more conservative, 30 years. Most of our customers, if they make it to the 50-year mark, we'll throw parties for them. The turbine is certified to WWEA standards, and UL certification is in process for some localities on our inverter. Next slide, please. The primary market for our turbine is the non-coastal areas. Offshore wind covers the coastal areas in the United States. We have several regions, primarily central states, where the wind resources are most abundant. However, that does not exclude the east and west coast in many locations. There are energy communities within our country, in the United States, that enjoy special incentives, and we can talk about those in just a moment. Next slide. Currently, in the United States market, the small wind market, 0 to 100 kilowatt, is enjoyed by a number of companies. There are 9 active players in the U.S. market at the current time, 7 certified turbines, and mid-size, we are looking at 3 active participants in the market beyond U.S. Most are relatively new to the market, coming back into the market, enjoying the growth of our industry in the United States after a number of years of being hammered by the solar industry. Next slide. In 2022, President Biden signed the Inflation Reduction Act, which gave quite a number of supports, federal level supports, to the United States, creating a robust U.S. market. Although this slide says that agricultural grants. These grants extend to small businesses as well. So our core markets over the past couple of years since the introduction of the Inflation Reduction Act has been farms, ranches, and small businesses. These tax credits, as they are currently in place, extend through 2023. Next slide, please. The Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 provides 10-year extensions of the residential and commercial investment tax credits. The base rate is 30%. For commercial projects, small business, farms, ranches, there is a 10% adder, which we enjoy being a domestic manufacturer of wind turbines. There are 10 to 20% adders for serving targeted disadvantaged communities throughout the United States, low-income areas, tribal, Native Americans, locations, and energy communities. These energy communities have been identified as locations throughout the United States that have been economically impacted by the environmental impact reduction of oil, gas, and coal mining. That created certain low-income areas, economic impacted areas, and for those areas, there are additional credits, tax credits, for the installation of renewable energy. There's also 5-year depreciation for businesses, farms, and ranches. And that 5-year depreciation can be accelerated and enjoyed in the very first year. Our tax credits, there are some people and companies that do not need the tax credits, need to take the tax credits. So in their case, there is an allowance to sell them in open market trading environment. The values of tax credits are upwards of 85 to 90% of the face value. For nonprofits, public agencies, and tribal communities, there is direct pay from the federal government. Whereas in the past, the nonprofit community in the United States really didn't get any tax consideration since they don't pay taxes. However, they must file every year with the federal government to maintain their tax-free status. If they list an investment in renewable energy, the federal agencies will refund to them directly 40% of the total project cost. Next slide, please. The domestic manufacturing tax credits are for turbines, towers, inverters. Small turbines must be certified. For too many years, the federal government was paying tax credits and impact advantages for turbines that were being produced in the United States or imported. And those turbines never lived up to their claims. So the federal government put a stop to it and required certification in order to enjoy the benefits of any tax advantages. Battery storage, for the first time under the Inflation Reduction Act, qualifies for residential tax credits as well as new commercial. Next slide, please. The U.S. Department of Agriculture grants and guaranteed loans to farms and rural small businesses adds $2 billion over the next 10 years. Small wind, 40% grants are available now. And we have heard rumors that after March 31st, those grants may go up to 50%. The downside is that the application process, as dealing with any governmental agency, tends to become somewhat burdensome. And there are a number of companies that have been popping up in the United States to provide grant writing services to lessen the impact of the burden of filling out these forms. Next slide, please. Here we can see the installation of a 15 kilowatt turbine on a 100-foot tower on a farm in the middle of the United States, Nebraska. This particular turbine was installed in 2022. It produces 35,000 kilowatt hours a year. And the installed cost at the time, the base cost, was $100,000 US. The USDA grant, Department of Agriculture grant, tax credits, bonus depreciation, provided a 3-year payback on that $100,000 installed cost. Next slide. As another example, not one of our turbines, but an example of the impact of the federal policies that have been put in place in the United States. This dairy farm had 200 kilowatt turbines installed on 100-foot towers. They were installed in 2016. The turbines produce 480,000 kilowatt hours a year, which is 60% of this particular dairy's energy. Next slide. Thank you. This chart shows what's been happening in the United States over the past number of 10 years. You can see that, and we're looking at the revenue line right now. That's the green line, dot to dot line. That revenue line, you can see, took a major drop from 2014 to 2018, primarily as a result of the incursion of solar and price advantages, cost cutting that took place in the marketplace. Since that time, and that is what encouraged us to begin work on the XL15 wind turbine. With the introduction of the 15 kilowatt wind turbine, from our standpoint and the overall US market, you can see the slow gain in revenues and sales to 2023, the impact of the Inflation Reduction Act from 2022 to 2023, producing a 30% increase in US market sales, or $11 million over that period. Next slide, please. Again, as I said earlier, our current market is primarily farms and rural small businesses. The demand as a result of these tax credits that we spoke about a little while ago has just been overwhelming to us. And again, as I stated earlier, we're focused right now on supplying this market with the XL15. The process is complex, and it requires expensive certifications for turbine electronics, which tend to be a barrier because in some states in the United States, there are demands being put on suppliers and or manufacturers of electronics to connect to the grid. Right now, Bergey's XL15 wind turbine has the largest market share, followed by Eocycle's 25 kilowatt turbine. Repowers, new turbines replacing an old one is an active market for us. We've had quite a number of XL10 turbines in the market. It behooves customers, rather than repairing their XL10 turbines, to switch and repower with an XL15, since that is subject to tax credits. And once the tax credits and the incentives are brought to bear, replacing an old turbine is less expensive at the bottom line than repairs. New entrants, recent entrants to the U.S. market, Rise Energy, ESPE, Northern Powers are starting to make sales and benefit from the recent government incentives. Federal policy is a very important player in the success and expanded sales that the U.S. is enjoying at this moment in time. Next slide. And with that, I thank you for bearing with me, and I'm open to any questions you may have.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you so much, Michael, for giving us an excellent overview, not only of what Bergey is offering. I think it's very impressive also to see the progress with the new turbine that you now are selling, but also giving us an idea of what's driving the US market, which I think is very encouraging for the rest of the world. And as Frits already indicated initially, we are trying also to set up some similar programs in the rest of the world, because I think small wind requires such support. In North America, now you're showing that it works. Do we have any questions from our colleagues here from the audience?
Stefan, I would also like to add, if I may, we
Please.
used to be engaged in European markets when back several years ago, when there were incentives available. Two things caused us to back away. Firstly, the reduction in some of the incentives provided by local and governments. The other piece of the equation is that our demand here in the United States has been so great, we've just simply been trying to keep up with that demand and basically pulled out of the European market. But we look forward to rejoining you, perhaps in 2025. As of this point, we have allowed our certifications to lapse, but we will be taking a closer look at that as we move into 2025.
Excellent. I mean, one part of what you say is really good news, that you're so busy. So it seems that it's really something where, after we know worldwide many years where it's been difficult for small wind, that there is now a major world region where things are really now moving into the upwards direction. I have a brief question.
I'd like to add one more thing. We're going into a very sensitive period of time and doing a balancing act, if you will. While we've been enjoying a robust market in the United States as a result of President Biden's Inflation Reduction Act and all the incentives being provided, as you may have heard, there has been a rumor that we've got an election coming up in about another week. Depending on the results of that election, we don't know what the status of all of these programs are going to be in 2025. So we're carefully balancing our supply to the United States market, so we don't put ourselves into any sort of financial jeopardy if something should change.
I think we're all following very closely what's happening in the United States because it has an impact on probably all of us. The outcome of the elections, and I believe in particular on our community and industry here. Now, Michael, I see two questions. One is in the chat. The colleague wrote before that he doesn't have a microphone, but he has the question: would you come back via a license model or local manufacturing? Can you answer this?
I'm sorry, please repeat that.
You can also read it in the chat. It says,
let me see if I can find that.
would you come back via a license model or local manufacturing?
No, we would engage in the same practice we did previously. You're talking about rejoining the European market?
That was now added to the question, yes.
Yes. Well, we would likely do it exactly the same way we did it before. We would continue to manufacture here in the United States and likely set up distribution centers in Europe.
Yes. So we're all certainly hoping that after next Sunday, there won't be additional trade barriers. That's certainly something that would also have an impact on what we're all now planning to do. And I see one hand raised, Kate Samedova. So if you'd like to unmute yourself and maybe please briefly introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you, Stefan. My name is Kate. Yeah, it's Kate Samedova. And actually, my question was raised. I was wondering if you are looking for a local outsourcing manufacturer. But so far, thank you very much. It was very insightful for the US market. And I wish that Bergey would come back to Europe and we will see more of your installations here. Thank you.
We are looking forward to it as well.
Thank you. Now, I don't see any other hands raised. And with this, and I'm pleased we have today companies from 3 continents. With this, we now move to Europe. We've just heard also some people speaking about Europe, but now it's my pleasure to welcome one of our members who is active in Europe, manufacturing in Europe, and that's Viking Wind, a Danish company. It's my great pleasure to welcome Ulrich Høgenhaven from Denmark. Ulrich, a warm welcome to you.
Thank you.
Ulrich, I would then like immediately to hand over to you and give you the floor so that you can present what your company is doing at probably under regulations which are not yet as positive as in the United States. But please share your thoughts with us.
Yeah, okay. I will share my screen.
And we come back to the one question which was raised after I handed over to Ulrich after the presentation. There's a question raised by Mustafa. We come back to that.
Oh, can you see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm Ulrich. I've been in the business for almost 30 years now, starting out with big wind. The past 11 years, I've been with small wind and Viking wind. So my experience is with transport installation, quality management, R&D, and lean. I've been working with Energy Micon, Vestas, Siemens, and Suslon before I came to Viking Wind. I said for about 11 years. For the past, I think 8 years, I've been representing small wind at the advisory board of the Danish Energy Agency, where we discuss how to certify wind turbines for the Danish market, mainly. Bit of history. Viking Wind, or HH Wind, started out, was founded in 2009. And from that time until the approval in 2011, the turbine was tested for reliability, etc. And it was approved there in 11, certified according to the IEC standards. We rebranded ATS Wind to Viking Wind in 2017, as we should focus more on the export markets. And for us Danes or Northern Viking sells very good abroad, we thought. All of our employees in Viking Wing are of high professional level. We have long careers in the wind industry. My colleague has been almost as long in the business as I have, and also in most of the companies I've been in. So we know each other from a long way back. Our design, as mentioned, is the well-known Danish concept. They are type approved according to the IC 61400-2 standard. The BS, as we are selling now, is the second generation of Viking wind turbine. This has a unique technology where we have developed a controller that can comply with grid requirements worldwide. And also the VS model have a higher production in low wind areas due to the variable speed on the rotor. But nevertheless, we have kept the fine design of the turbine on this second generation also. One of the benefits of the turbine is the foundation. We use very little agricultural land compared to PV. We only consume around 100 square meters of land for the foundation. It's actually across 10 by 10 meters, so you can grow crops inside the cross, what we should call it. Yeah, service can be provided during harvesting of crops because we tilt the turbine during maintenance. And also it is manufactured or designed for easy transport and installation. We can actually have 3 complete turbines in a 40-foot container. The heaviest lift is 1 ton and can be erected by an electric winch that comes with the turbine. Also during maintenance, as mentioned, the turbine is lower, so all work can be performed on ground. And there is also the possibility of lay down the turbine by extreme weather and therefore eliminate risk of damage during hurricanes or whatever. The operation time for laying down from start to end is 20 minutes. So if you have a good warning system, you can just lay down the turbine until the storm is over and then raise it again and start producing power. The turbine is assembled and manufactured in Denmark. We've used top quality products, most of which are manufactured in Denmark, and the rest is from the EU, to ensure high quality of the components. As standard, we deliver the turbine with 2 years warranty on all components. We have an availability of at least 97% on our existing fleet. There is a required maintenance once a year, and design life is 20 years. We haven't reached the design life yet, but if you do a regular maintenance, I think the lifetime of the turbine is longer. We have surveillance on all the turbines that has internet connection, either by cable or phone lines, where we monitor all the turbines and see if they're doing well. And also, we can assist locals in troubleshooting. Here are some of the surveillance data. We can see temperatures, grids, wind, of course, and production, etc. There's no display on the turbine, but we have, when there's connection to the turbine, we have all the database here that connects all the data from all the turbines, where we can give the owner of the turbine access to his own turbine, so he can see what is the actual production status on the turbine, and data is updated every 30 seconds, so they can follow live data more or less. We are also involved in off-grid, mini-grid solutions. We can collaborate with existing energy solutions such as solar, diesel generators, and storage solutions. Therefore, the turbines are available for rural areas and remote areas without electricity or limited electricity supply. We have some we can show here. We have a wind diesel project in Argentina that has been running for more than 10 years now, I think. Just before I came here, it started, and it was a local community way out in the rural areas with 500 citizens running on diesel alone. And from Denmark, we provided 3 turbines and a special diesel engine that could run low load. So they saved about 40,000 liters of diesel every year. And they got a more steady supply of power. We have also been involved in a hybrid project here in Denmark on a small island. They had diesel before, then they wanted to make the island green, so now they have diesel, PV, and storage, and also a wind turbine, of course. They started out with 1 wind turbine in 2018, and due to finishing the test, or what we should call it, they need more power during the winter time, so they bought 1 more turbine. So that was also a very learning project from our side. We installed also for testing cold climate conditions in a turbine in Sisimiut in Greenland in 2018. Installation went well, even though we had some height issues on the height of the concrete foundation. And actually, we were meant to use the mountainside as anchor and foundation because that's one of the benefits also from our design, that we can use mountainsides for just connecting directly to. And that will make it even smoother on sites in rural settlements in Greenland. We have no special equipment beside the supplied winch for erection of the tilt of the turbine. We had some experience with the cold climates but I think it was minor issues. So we have been running it smoothly for the past 2 years now, over the 2 winters that has been. So we are ready for cold climate condition also. An island. For more information, you can have a look at our webpage or contact us directly. We are very fun to talk about our turbine and our projects, and are ready to make some customized solution also. That was it from our side.
Well, thank you very much, Ulrich. That was very interesting, especially to see that you are covering a very broad range geographically of markets. So I see that one Greenland, a project in Argentina. So you are a kind of a truly global company. You are selling in principle around the world.
Yeah, well, there's demand we can supply, yes. And also because it's so easy to transport and install.
Then how do you see the European market at the moment, as we spoke about that earlier?
The European market is very slow at the moment because there's no incentives anymore, more or less in any country. So, but the interest is picking up because of the high electricity costs. So we see an increase in demand, and that's also why we are going on fairs at the moment to show that we are still here, even though it's tough times.
Yeah, well, what I see now in more and more countries is that solar reaches some saturation, because take my home country, Germany, we will soon see 100% or more at lunchtime covered in summer with solar and what happens during the night and in winter. So that I think is opening a new window for those who want to cover their own consumption, smaller businesses, households, etc.
Yeah, we get contacted by customer who has PV actually, but they see there's only 10-15% they get from it during winter time. And if they use it for heating up here north in Europe, then they have a lack, and that's where the wind turbine comes in. So the combination of PV and wind is a good solution.
Yes, so I think that is definitely the way to go. And maybe that is now why there is we can see in some countries small momentum, if we just heard in the US, stronger momentum for the small wind technology. Now, looking into the audience, do we have questions specifically for Ulrich? If that's not the case, then let's look into the chat because there was one person. So there is one question specifically for you from Sebastian. Again, how many turbines do you have running?
We have around 70 running at the moment, I think. We have manufactured 75, but some have been taken out again, and so 72, I think, is running at the moment.
Okay, so that's a typical size for the kind of small wind company.
Yeah.
And of course, we hope that that number increases in the near future a lot.
Yes.
Trying to help on that as good as we can from side of the association. Now, unless there is another question now for Ulrich, let's look at the question that comes from one of the participants in the chat, Mustafa here. I have a short question now. There are islands, if they do not exist in areas, the ocean with high potential for wind energy. Why is the development of such turbines limited? I think that is more for Frits. Are there other limitations besides technical limitations? And I also want to ask why companies have shown no desire to integrate systems such as hydrogen and ammonia production with this technology. Maybe, Ulrich, I can ask you first, hydrogen, is that something you think that in connection with your turbine, does that make any sense?
We have been looking into it, but I think the power production is too small. It will be too expensive at the moment to start hydrogen production. I don't think it's good for small scale.
Yes, so I think that for sure electricity first, that is I think anyway very clear before converting into where you have some losses, and probably the direct consumption of the electricity is the more efficient way, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and also battery storage is more efficient at the moment than hydrogen.
Yes, with battery storage, you have an efficiency of 80%, maybe a bit more. But while when you have hydrogen, you already lose half of the energy when you produce the hydrogen.
Yeah.
So let's ask the other participants. Maybe I see our other speakers. Frits, can you answer one of those questions here, or maybe both of them?
First, I wanted to also say about hydrogen. It's still double the price. So this maturing industry in which small wind could contribute to hydrogen production, the price has to fall down by 50%. That's one. And the other thing is that the pilots I've seen in the last years have a bigger turbine. So if you are Viking wind is 25 kilowatt, but they are using mostly more, like 80 kilowatts. So if you are going to 25, you need also an extra cost reduction because the hydrogen production needs also a serious use of the hydrogen. You don't have small installations at the moment. And then the other thing I have to look, there are islands. I do not, if they do not exist in the ocean, why is the development such terms limited? I don't understand the question.
Maybe you just what is keeping sometimes or limiting the size of turbines that can be used on some islands. You referred to a specific case where you said that Enercon wasn't able to install the 7 megawatt turbine.
Oh yes, it's special logistics in general, transport, cranes. That's in general, and from small. I try to also to explain from small to big. So Bergey encountered this on a mountaintop with 1 kilowatt machines, and Enercon saw that on Aruba with 950 kilowatt machines. At that time, Enercon had 7 megawatt machines they only had to place 2 of these machines, but they are so big, and you are trying on such an island, you are trying to get 1 or 2 turbines, because if you have to place 10 turbines, you have 10 times the maintenance. So you are trying to get as big as possible on an island. But as also I showed, Runu needed 500 kilowatt. But as the ferry can't transport a turbine bigger than 225 kilowatt, you have to place 2 turbines. But it's especially logistical problems.
Yes, that is certainly true. And you cannot just bring a crane just for 1 turbine, thousands of kilometers to such an island.
Yes, also, yeah.
Now, thank you very much, Frits. Let's ask our other 2 speakers. Kangaraj, I would like to know also what you think is hydrogen an option for you? And maybe another question, well, now we heard a lot from North America and Europe. What is driving? Why do your clients buy the wind turbines? Is there any specific support from the government of India? Kangaraj, are you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I am here. Sir, specifically India, we have up to, can you support it to 100 kilowatt only supported, sir? Not a small turbine, not supported. Mostly more than 100 kilowatt can be supported. Small turbines, not little support will be very less than support only in our government.
So why do people buy that? Is it because they can generate and produce and consume the electricity at lower price than the price from the grid?
Yes, no, mostly we are doing off-grid. Off-grid is best. We are doing some more rural areas. We are doing off-grid only. Some areas only we are grid mostly less than using only grid tie inverters turbines. We are mostly again using off-grid best 1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatt like that. We are using off-grid.
Okay, so it's off-grid, which has its own market segment. Thank you.
Yeah, our country now only, sorry for this. Our country now only will be little developed in a small concern. We do the national wind energy sector in last year also we are putting up the some approval. We little increase our government. Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. So I think that is
thank you,
obviously also a consumer-driven market then. Yeah, thank you. Michael,
thank you, sir.
When you look into the US market, we hear it's obviously consumer-driven, but there's also support that other countries would also like to see. When you hear the keyword hydrogen, is that something where there's a bell ringing, or you say, no, that's not something interesting for us?
Well, it's interesting that the topic should come up because just last week, we installed a turbine at a local university to support their hydrogen research facility. So they apparently are, hydrogen is still in the development stage. It was interesting 6 months ago when the university came to us and said, we need supplemental power. And when we found out it was going into their hydrogen research facility, it made us smile. And as I said, just last week, we installed the turbine there.
Excellent. So there is some hydrogen production coming from Bergey turbines. That's good to know. That's for research. Yeah, I think that is kind of the looking into the future. It's been very interesting also for me personally to listen to our four speakers. A big thank you. Really hearing very different perspectives on small wind. What we have heard without doubt is that small wind is a consumer-driven market. It's very useful if there is some government support. US obviously leading in this regard at the moment, so we hope the best for the elections. Best wishes for you, Michael, in the United States. And we are hoping that other governments are also giving additional support to small wind now, as we do understand that there is a need, not just a niche. There's not a niche, but a need to have more wind, small wind complementary with photovoltaic, and that really can play an important role in covering the power demand of people around the world. With this, I would like to say again, thank you very much to our four speakers and to the audience for also good discussion, good questions. Thank you very much. Have a good day, and may the wind blow well, especially for small wind. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Bye.